belongs to who? So how about you introduce your kids and their grandkids, just so Mama can see them as groupings. And then Linda will do hers and her groupings. And if the little grandies can wave their hats, just so at Christmas time, that's all Mom cared about was the grandies. Just come here, Mama. So Albert's going to start, and he introduces his kids. And if the grandies of that one, just do one kid at a time.
You can lift her up Lion King style.
Yeah, do it.
And we have Graham and Julian and you see with
Morgan.
Gwen.
That's all.
That's it.
All right. Well, Mom, you met Jen and Jeremy and their children here just a little while ago. They all sat around you, right? So Jen and Jeremy and your children, wave your hands.
That's like half the people here.
I think one extra one.
I think there was an extra one, yeah. Okay, and after Jen and Jeremy, then James and Carrie. Well, I guess James and Carrie should have been first. Sorry. James and Carrie, and there's Josiah and Ainsley and Nathan. Where is Nathan?
He's over here. He's right here. But Stephen
Oh,
Curry's
there.
trying to join their
Do you want to sit beside Michael?
Okay, and then Steve and Carleen. Steve and Carleen are back there. And there's 3 girls today. Miss Haley is missing, but there's Natalie, and Annalie, and Araya. And Haley wasn't feeling well, so she stayed with her other grandparents. And then Jonathan and Amanda, and you saw Jonathan and Amanda. And they have Hunter and Hadley and Adeline. Adeline. Yeah. Okay, I think that's my crew.
But she's very strong. She likes to.
My crew is David. Marianne, just say.
My crew is Patrick and Trudy.
You have the best behaved crew.
Jenny is your crew.
For now. So that's everybody. That's
Mom, would you have known that there's, from you and Dad, all these people, the 2 of you started your life, and now all these people are your people. Yeah. And a few more yet.
Later on, there will be a time where you can each give a memory if you wish, or something that meant to you, or something that was important to you somewhere in your life. We encourage you, that'll be later on, give you lots of time to think about it. I have personally talked to one person a couple days ago, and he's going to be doing a skit later on. And I did talk to him.
I think he's surprised.
He did talk to him. The big thing always in Mom and Dad's family was the get together when we would sing, and Albert would play guitar or whatever like that. But when Linda came along, we had really good music. And so Linda, you could lead some songs.
Okay, well this morning, when I woke up early this morning, the song came to my mind, Great is Thy Faithfulness. And so we're going to sing Great is Thy Faithfulness first.
Thank you.
So who can tell me when Grandma was born?
100 years ago.
No,
March 5th,
Dates.
2020. Yes.
Okay.
March 5th, 2020.
Absolutely right. Who can tell me where Grandma was born?
Russia.
Anybody know place in Russia?
Somewhere in Crimea.
Where does Elisa was
Lisa was.
what I put. Who can tell me where in the birth order Grandma comes in her family?
Second.
Second. Auntie Elizabeth just turned 100 2 years ago or something, and
No, it was a year ago in December.
she's passed away. So interesting note that Grandma is the only one still living of the 6 children from her first mom. It's only Grandma left. How old was Grandma when she immigrated to Canada?
7.
Who said 6? Right. So, you've been listening. September 7th, 1926, Grandma's family left Elisaba and started the long journey by train to Moscow, Russia. And then they probably went through Poland, Germany, Amsterdam, maybe even Belgium, because they had to get to Liverpool, England. And from there, they sailed on the SS Mount Rose to Canada, arriving in Quebec. Upon arriving in Montreal, Grandma and her mom and brothers and sisters had to stay in the hospital because one of them had chicken pox, right?
COVID-19.
Yeah. But her dad was sent on to Saskatchewan all by himself. And so Grandma's mom, who didn't know any English, and none of the kids knew English, they had to stay back in Montreal. Yeah. I don't know, when I think of it, I feel so bad for her mom. So Grandpa arrived in Langham, Saskatchewan on October 19th, 1926. So about a month and a half that they were in route, transit, whatever you would call it. I'm not sure how much later Grandma and her mom and brothers and sisters arrived, but certainly it would have been in late fall. Oh, wow, you stayed a long time in Montreal then.
Time for Christmas, I'll be there.
So she said they arrived just in time for Christmas. And I read something really interesting in one of the books. Her first mom loved giving gifts, and I don't remember which year it was, but Grandma received one of those porcelain stalls for a Christmas present. In 1927, they moved from Langham to Eyebrow, where Grandma started going to Ames School. This was a 1.5-mile walk, and in winter they would go by horse and buggy. It was very hard in the beginning because Grandma didn't know any English, and her parents didn't know any, so helping them with homework in the evening was pretty hard. Who knows what big event happened in Grandma's life when she had just turned 10? That's right. Her mother died on March 23rd, 1930. At 34 years of age, which was a very difficult thing for all of them. Now, Grandma, being the second oldest, had helped her dad outside with chores and everything else, and her sister Elizabeth cooked. But then when the work was done outside, Grandma had to come in and help after the kids. And on July 8th, 1930, so from March 23rd to July 8th of the same year, her dad would marry again, and they would have a new mom to care for them. Does anybody know what grade Grandma went to? Good job, Elizabeth. And it was after that that she was needed at a home. And she just told us a story since we've been here now. So her first job, she might have been 13 or 14 years of age. And they didn't have enough water to feed the animals. And so they had to get water from a neighbor. But to pay for the water, Grandma had to go work at their house and help outside and inside. Yeah, isn't that crazy? Anyway, they got water for the animals at that time. So that was Grandma's first job. Does anybody know that Grandma used to sing in a quartet? That's pretty cool. She was the alto, her sister Elizabeth was soprano, and Grandpa, her dad, was the tenor, and a Mr. Brown was the bass. The pastor was bass. Grandma went to Bible school when she thinks about 20 years old. She went all by herself on the train and would have to spend a night in Saskatoon. She didn't know anyone in Saskatoon. And so there she sat on the train very scared and shy. There was a woman, a very kindly woman, that saw how afraid she was and sat with her and talked to her, found out where she was going. And she said, when you get to Saskatoon, you go to this house and you tell them I sent you. And it was to somebody, their last name was Lila. And they let Mom stay there for the night. And they trusted her so much. It was October 31st, Halloween, that they let her stay home and babysit their youngest kids while they took the older ones out for Halloween. Grandma was baptized when she was 18 years old with her sister Elizabeth and brother John in Elbow Lake. How old do you think Grandma was when she married Grandpa?
34.
No.
24.
25.
23. But not for long. She married Grandpa, 23 years old. They were married on January 21st, and then March 5th she turned 24. And if Grandpa was still living today, they would have just in January celebrated 77 years of marriage. Close to the end. How many kids did Grandma have? And I want the names and birth order. See if some of the younger ones can.
Okay.
First.
Number 2.
Dave and Dad and Al.
Albert.
Len, Marianne, and Betty.
Excellent. A+. In November of 1956, Grandpa and Grandma and their family moved to Manitoba to farm, the same place where Grandma and Auntie Betty still live. Grandma has always made friends easily and quickly, and many of the same people that Grandma befriended back then are still her friends today. That is if they were younger. But many of those people's kids even are her friends today. That's about Grandma. If it doesn't go too late, I had a few things about 100 years ago, but I can do that later.
With the man that's going to do the drama. Randy's grannies, do you know? That's grandchildren. James, what's your answer? What's a guess?
And banjo.
Harmonica, the piano.
Harmonica and a 7-string guitar.
You still have that?
Oh, you could.
I think it's time to get her up there.
She used to. So, and Mom taught Sunday school for a number of years, and she always loved little kids singing. And so now the grandies are going to sing a song. Jennifer in charge?
Great granny. So
Grandies and grads.
they're all gone.
Oh, take a little while to get together. This one as a young child from Tom, but he's also done some very, very long poems from a fellow named Tor. And he's going to recite them now, I hope. Kurt Walker was a family friend.
As we celebrate T-Dot their birthday today, it kept me like me. Okay, this next song is song.
Oh, good.
It's for old grandpas. Grandpas too.
Which one do you want to do?
For old people.
Keep me sweet.
Oh, yeah. Lord, keep me sweet as I grow old. When things in life seem hard to bear. When I feel sad and all alone, people help me smile while I watch the noisy play of birds and boys. To remember how the time when I was young today, full of life and health and strength, was romping shut in noisy play. Only sweetness home. And as the days and years roll on, oh, keep me sweet as I grow old. I will try one more. Dumb old country boy. I'm just a dumb old country boy that ain't so very smart. When I talk, I get mixed up. My gears are hard to start. It seems I don't have many brains like other folks I know. And when it comes to society, my dumbness there I show. I tried to put the dog on once, keep my boots a shine, pressed my suit on a tie. I sure look mighty fine. But when I mixed with that high crowd, my knees began to knock. I stood there like an old hound dog with all that eyeglass stopped. I went down to the jailhouse once to witness for my Lord. I told them how the Lord saved me. They sure looked mighty bored. They nudged each other and they smiled. I heard them say, "He's dumb." But they stayed in and I walked out when leaving time had come. I'm still a dumb country boy. I hope I'll always be just dumb enough to trust the Lord for all eternity. And so I'll just keep traveling on. No brains, not too smart. I'm just a dumb old country boy with Jesus in my heart.
day involved, 3 meals for 90 years. How many meals is that? Guys out with the phones, come on, come on. 90 times 3, it's 27,000. 90 years
90 years.
times 3 meals a day.
That's over 1,000 years.
How many is it?
98,550.
98,500 meals. We have made.
Oh my word, aren't you tired, Mom?
So that's why this one was not worn off on bed. That's for sure. But they were both about the same size, and this one here is as old as Kent or James or more. If Mama is 100 years old, how many days has she lived? 100 times 365. We couldn't figure it out the other day at home until we got our calculator. Can you young guys do it?
390,000 for 300 weekdays.
390,000.
There's 25 weekdays in
So I
there.
think, wasn't David?
What's your name?
500 days. About to live.
So when I would come here in the summer, then they would have VBS going on right here at this church. And I like teaching kids, so then I would teach VBS and take Amanda and David with me. But that was never good enough for Mom, so she had to let me know that there were neighborhood kids out at the farm. So I had to pick up those kids too and bring them to VBS. That was a really great memory. If there was more kids on the way, I'm sure she would have found them that I could pick up. So that's my memory, just this little evangelist. And, love everybody.
Mom also used to host 5-day club in the backyard. Yeah, I remember that. Next, just come and stand up here, just to go a little faster.
Is I met Albert at a party here in town. It was a 100th anniversary of a farm, and then we drove to Mom and Dad's, and they were celebrating Albert and Elf's birthday. And as hospitable as Mom is, and if you know her, she's always inviting people over and making people feel at home. She made me feel at home, and she found out my birthday just had been. So I just joined right in. The 3 of us had this cake, and they sang happy birthday to me, and the rest is history.
Tell it it was a bull judging contest.
Well, there was a bull judging contest, and I didn't win.
But Dave did.
Oh, Dave won it though. Yeah.
Yeah.
He guessed the weight. Weight of the bull within 10 pounds of him.
Anyone else? Can we just short something that you remember about Mom, or that you appreciated, or whatever?
First came, and we were, I think, a car full of girls, and we came with you. And it must have been hard. I mean, all these girls coming to the farm, and we would come on Friday night. And so everybody had to get through the tub first, because the tub was in the kitchen. So it must have been crazy at home before we would come on the weekend, because then we would stay for the weekend. So Mom, meals. Mom had meals. Mom had all that stuff ready for us, and that's how I got to know Elf, and that too is history.
Hey Linda, we were just talking about this, and we were trying to remember where everybody slept. Because Mom and Dad gave up their bedroom.
Yes, I think, as far as I know, us girls slept. I don't know, like were some on the floor? I don't remember. I think there was mattresses on the floor, because we slept in the big bedroom upstairs.
I remember many times when missionaries or whatever would come to this little church, we had the most people in the family, smallest house, yet they always stayed at our house all the time. And mom and dad would sleep downstairs in the living room and the guest would sleep upstairs. Amazing. Couldn't believe it. Next. Steve, you must have something to say.
Remember sweet apple juice from that big crab apple tree in the front yard, and boiled wieners, mac and cheese, and big flower beds. He always took very good care of us.
Anyone else? Sorry.
Just the way it is. I got this from an older lady, and it's called A Frivolous Girl. I have become a frivolous old gal. I'm seeing 5 gentlemen every day. As soon as I wake up, willpower helps me get out of bed. Then I go to see John. And then Charlie Horse comes along. And when he's there, it takes a lot of my time and attention. When he leaves, arthritis shows up and stays the rest of the day. But he doesn't like to stay in one place very long, so he takes me from joint to joint. After such a busy day, I'm really tired, and I'm glad to go to bed with Ben Gay. So, anyone who lives in this world will have challenges, right, Mom? Jesus told his disciples that before he went to heaven. In John 16:33, he said, "I've told you all this so that you have peace in me." Here on earth, you will have many sorrows and trials, but take heart, because I have overcome the world. Don't worry, I'm not going to preach here. However, as I look around this room, I see family who has experienced great loss and hardship. Some have lost jobs and occupations. Some have lost crops and had crop failure. They've lost animals and chickens and turkeys. Some have lost money due to decisions that they've made or others have made for them. Others have lost material things like cars, houses, stuff. And some have had or do have major health challenges. Some have lost friends and relationships. Some have lost dads and moms and grandparents. Some have lost brothers and sisters, uncles and aunts, cousins and friends. And some have lost, well, you fill in the blank. The list can go on and on, can't it? Mom, as I look at this list, you've experienced many of these losses. These heart-crushing sorrows. And I've watched as your heart has been wrenched this way and twisted that way because of the trials and sorrows of life. Yet your faith in God and His goodness has never wavered. And you've helped me learn that God is a God who can be trusted in spite of the circumstances. Mom, you're like the person in Psalm 1 who is like a tree planted by the water, whose roots go down deep, who bears fruit in season. Not all the time, only in season, but whose leaves are always green. This is because of your deep trust in God, that you have life, that you have a cheerful heart, a cheerful spirit. Mom, you've lived out your faith in front of your kids, in your family, and neighbors. Your leaves continue to be green, and because of that, people love you and are drawn to you. For this reason and many others, we honor you today. Last, speaking of your favorite and worst son-in-law. All right, I'm the only one. I want to thank you again for welcoming me into the family so many years ago. I've never really felt anything less than a son as part of the family. So thank you. The thought occurs to me that there are only two types of people in the world. Those that are Doerksens and those that wish they were. Therefore, like the Proverbs 31 woman, we, your children, your grandchildren, and your great-grandchildren fall down and call you blessed today.
Can any of you guess about how many times Mom has read through the entire Bible? Not necessarily immediately in a year, but read it through. What's your guess?
12.
20.
She said conservatively more than 10, but maybe a little bit under 15. Whenever I'd phone her, she would often say, oh, I'm reading in Ezekiel or whatever like that. And that's amazing. And that was basically the last 15 years. Basically. She said when all us kids were at home and young, there was so terrible much work to do with 9 in the family, making meals, sewing, whatever like that. There was no time to sit down and read books. In the last year, last number of years, she's read a lot of books, but the Bible was conservatively 10, but probably more like 15.
And it wasn't always in English either, it was German ones too,
And
right,
one
Mom?
time in German.
She read every wish.
Every word read.
Yeah,
There's no
genealogies,
skipping.
everything.
Or you
Otherwise, she
can't- or
said
you can't say that you read it.
Yeah. So the Bible has meant a lot to Mom, and therefore it means a lot to us too. And there was no preachers in our family till another generation. And we have Russell, but we also have James.
My brother John was.
Yeah, but I mean in your kids. And so now we have James, and if James, if you will come and speak to Mom and to us.
When you take the clutch. When you take the clutch.
I'm not gonna do that. Heard out the parent got a little preachy, so I don't know if I really need to do this, but he took my verse.
That's a God thing.
That's yeah.
Anyways, it's good to be here today, together as family to celebrate this milestone of Grandma's 100th birthday. And I want to share this verse from Psalm 1, verses 1 to 3, which reads, "Blessed is the one who does not walk in step with the wicked, or stand in the way that sinners take, or sit in the company of mockers, but whose delight is in the law of the Lord, and who meditates on his law day and night. That person is like a tree planted by streams of water, which yields its fruit in season, and whose leaf does not wither. Whatever they do prospers." I chose this verse because it reminded me of Grandma. Grandma's love for God and her devotion to Him has yielded much fruit in all of our lives. I think we can all say we've been blessed by Grandma because she loves the Lord. We have enjoyed her hospitality. We've been encouraged in time spent with her. We have seen the example set by her steadfast, unwavering faith in God through good times and some very painful times too. Grandma, we want to thank you today for the example you have set for us in living a godly life and finding your joy and strength in the Lord. Your faithful teaching and your service have helped to lead generations of your family to Him. I hope that we can encourage you today as you continue on the journey that the Lord has set you on. We thank you for all the care that you have shown us. We love you. Let's join in prayer. Lord, we thank you today for the opportunity to be together with family to celebrate the 100th birthday of a special mother, grandmother, and great-grandmother. We thank you for the many years of life that you have given her and the wisdom and perspective she has gained. And thank you for the many chances that she has had to share your love and your saving grace with the people around her, and for the seeds that she has planted in the hearts of so many. We know that her desire is still to be a blessing to the people in her life. And so we ask that you would continue to show her ways that she can serve you each day. Help her to continue to speak truth and encouragement to others. And we ask that you would grant her good health, steadiness on her feet, and rest as she goes about her days. We thank you for the blessing that she is to our family, and we ask that you would show us ways that we can be a blessing to her too. In your name, amen.
Anyone else have any memories or anything you want to say? If not, Kent,
To you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday, dear Grandma.
Big Grandma.
Happy birthday to you.
Okay, boys. Sparkle them up.
Okay with the situation.
You're gonna burn the church down.
I think they're gonna be, oh, my tablecloth. Oh, shoot, the tablecloth. She's too late.
Oh, one's not gonna work. Come on, light it.
Oh, a molded magnet.
Mom, is it hurting you?
You might
Oh,
not
it's
need that
okay.
cake.
It's done.
That's what I was afraid with.